Good evening, and welcome to our continuing series, Explorations in Savitri, with our brother Alok. We continue with The Traveler of the Worlds, Book 2, Canto 11, Kingdoms and Godheads of the Greater Mind, page 268, beginning at the little break. Above stood ranked a subtle archangel race.
So, in the very beginning, first few lines, Sri Aurobindo will show us the main difference between the beings of the higher mind and the beings of the illumined mind. So, it's a triple stair: the higher mind, the illumined mind, and the intuitive mind. So, higher mind at one place, Sri Aurobindo describes like there is a daylight, and you are in that daylight and you are seeing things. In illumined mind, that light, something of that light has entered you in your sight. So now see the difference. Now it's very interesting that when we see forms, we normally think this is this, but actually it is the senses which build form. So you have the light. Light is essential. But this light, things are reflected from whatever reality is there, and we construct a form. So, though the form making starts in the our mind, but still a conceptual form making, the crystallization of the forms is at the higher mind plane. And that is why the religions come into existence, where there are very strict rules and regulations and do's and don'ts and totems and taboos, which gets connected with something which is higher. And after still passage of time, that higher is lost completely, and this becomes the main thing. So, higher mind has a light coming from above in which it stands, and in that light it sees and creates forms. But in illumined mind it's very different. It's like when there is a light which is within, you see behind appearances, behind the surfaces of things, which is a very different story altogether. That's what we are
Just a
going to
moment on the intuitive mind,
say. Yes.
if you could.
Yeah, so intuitive mind is where there is, Sri Aurobindo describes it very beautifully, like there may be a densest darkness, but it's like a sudden lightning which cleaves the darkness, and that entire area is illumined to your sight. So it's moves in massive spaces of time, unlike the ordinary human mind which labors within a short spans of things. So illumined mind will show you what is. Like, for example, to give an example, illumined mind, higher mind will see external, symbolically it will derive at some understanding of a person. Illumined mind will show what is in the depth of the person. Intuitive mind will show you the past and the future linking with the person, because it's like a flash. So large spaces of time are unlocked. Yet it is not yet the perfect seeing. Though intuitive mind is a great climb. If one goes to the intuitive mind, there are a lot of things which are revealed. But with the supramental, there is no scope of error, because intuitive mind is like lightning, will show you a large space. But still there are things which are hidden. The interconnectedness of one with another, one life with countless other lives, that is missing. That only the supramental light can show. So this is how the climb comes. And overmind, of course, is the range which buttresses in between, where you go, actually you are preparing to go beyond the form. So that's where you have all these Sagun Brahman, Nirgun Brahman, form and the formless, all these debates start there. Because now you are seeing that reality either this angle or that angle, or in that in which all are reconciled. That's as far as the old yoga could go, which was embodied in Sri Ramakrishna's life. And he gave a very beautiful example that, some say God is Sagun, some say he's Nirgun. So he said it's like you take a stick. If you go in this way, it's an idol. If you go from another way, it's formless. So that should be described very beautifully. And the supramind is still beyond, where form, formless, all the seeming antagonistic parts and opposites, they are fused together in a divine harmony. In the overmind, you have aspects. Each aspect you can discover its absolute. But how they are harmonized with each other in the supermind, they are changed into their divine aspect and in supreme harmony. So now it is about the illumined mind. Above stood ranked a subtle archangel race with larger lids and looks that search the unseen. So that is the beauty of this. It's looking behind the form, even the form of religious practices. We are talking about ideologies, it's looking behind that. Human beings, they lived a light of liberating knowledge shone across the gulfs of silence in their eyes. Now, this light is in their eyes, and it's a liberating knowledge. Probably from here, one can at least use the word vidya in its sense that vidya is that which liberates. So, it is a liberating knowledge, not a restricting knowledge. Even at higher mind, there is a knowledge, higher seeing than the rational mind, but it is still a restricting knowledge. But this is a liberating knowledge. It sees behind the form and discovers the hidden truth. Across the gulfs of silence in their eyes, they lived in the mind and knew truth from within. So this is their characteristic.
And this is a race.
Yeah,
A race.
Yeah, race. In the sense, race in the highest sense. Gods,
mass.
race of gods. Yes,
Yes.
it's not just one being. So, race of gods, archangels. What is their method of knowing? Where is this light and how do they bring it out? A sight withdrawn in the concentrated heart could pierce behind the screen of time's results and the rigid cast and shape of visible things. So they have this ability to go behind forms and appearances, and thereby they can see something which is not recognized even by the higher mind. So that's the beauty of this realm. It's a big leap actually if you look at it from one point of view. All that escaped conception's narrow noose, vision descried and gripped, their seeing thoughts filled in the blanks left by the seeking sense. So Shobinda has used this word seeing thoughts literally for Krishna Prem, that he is a Pashyanti Buddhi, is seeing intelligence. So you can see what is missing. So otherwise, let's take a scripture. Now, there are many things which are missing. Why this happened? What could have been the meaning of it, purpose of it? Now the illumined mind will show what's happening there, and it'll bring out that deeper sense. To give an example is that let's say the Ramayana, when you read it like a story, and there are people who will describe from the higher mind point of view that Rama means this, Lakshmana means this. It goes around in WhatsApp and people take a great liking. Bharata means this, Shatrughan means this, and they are all your five senses, etc. etc. Now, this is a symbolic way of seeing it. But if you want to know how illumined mind would see, then you have the Adhyatma Ramayana, where it's a different story altogether. It's Sita's story written by Sita. It's the play of the Divine Mother staged by herself for her own. Then in an intuitive mind, you will go beyond it. You will see what really Sita is, who she is, what really is the play about. You may even see in Ramayana there is a far off hint of a coming of a future, which is cryptically there because Valmiki is a seer. So that is how the whole thing goes. Filled in the blanks left by the seeking sense, high architects of possibility and engineers of the impossible. Only Shubindu can write like this. They pick up those great ideas streaming from the sun and they take it inside their eyes and then they look at what is possible and how it can be created. Mathematicians of the infinitudes and theoricians of unknowable truths, they formulate enigmas, postulates, and join the unknown to the apparent worlds. So this is there. Basically, it's something more abstract than just form, something like mathematics. And you'll see through this passage, a lot of mathematical terms will come. Abstract mathematics. Now, if we really look at mathematics, higher mathematics, even the ordinary mathematics is symbolic. Numbers are symbols, nothing else. And each symbol has a certain meaning. But higher mathematics enters into an abstraction. Actually, it's very difficult to understand any number, and it's very abstract. Like you divide infinity by any number, or you divide zero by any number. So it changes. Now these are very very clearly, deeply spiritual truths. You multiply any number by zero, and it becomes a zero. Yeah, something like that. No, I hope I am not wrong. Multiply by zero, it becomes zero. I think it's zero. Zero multiplied is zero. Zero. And you divide infinity by or zero by infinity, something like that, and it yields it's infinite or zero. That's how it is. It's amazing.
My experience,
1 by 0 equals to infinite. Yeah, anything by 0, it becomes infinite. You divide it. When you multiply it, it becomes 0. Absolutely true. So 1 by 0 equal to infinity. That's the equation that I had read, and I was surprised. You divide any number by 0, it is infinite. So you can go into deep spiritual understanding just from this mathematics, which is abstract, but it reveals spiritual truths. So
when I went to the YouTube searching Ramanujan,
yes,
after that there were dozens and dozens of things on mathematics.
yes,
And they all come up because they target you. They know what you're searching for. And
complex equations of that kind. So you have this normal mathematics and you have higher mathematics, which are very good symbols of, let's say, the higher mind, which is a symbol, and the more complex mathematics, which is more like, it tries to reach out to infinity. Acolytes, they wait upon the timeless power. So they draw from that power and then they share it or reveal it or interpret it. So they are the acolytes who are like heirs of that power. The cycle of her works investigate, passing her fence of wordless privacy. Their mind could penetrate her occult mind and draw the diagram of her secret thoughts. So it has, because of that light, it could go behind the wall and fence of nature and all the forms she has built. So they are still moving in the realm of the manifest. All these three minds. Unmanifest is supermind and beyond. What is still not there. That's why it is the transcendent. They are still moving in the realm of the manifest, but they are revealing deeper and deeper truths. They read the codes and ciphers she had sealed. Copies they made of all her guarded plans. Now this is where they start erring. So they make a copy of every plan which is hidden inside the timeless power. Because they don't have this thing about the unmanifest. It is only in the Gita you find this, that the unmanifest and the manifest so beautifully. And there are hints of it in the Vedas, but very often you have creation and you have the divine. But divine is like very nebulous, in the sense that is there something in the divine which is yet to express itself here, that you don't find, which is a paradox. Because if so much is expressed over time, there are surely more things which will express in time. This thought doesn't go. If you look at it, it's so natural thought. That's why Sri Aurobindo says it's the supermind is inevitable in the very logic of things. So what is the logic of things? If you look at evolution, things which have not been have come into existence. That means there are more things logically which could be hiding in the folds of God, which will express itself. But we don't find it if we lean towards passive Brahman, which absorbs all things. So you have creation, whatever it is, and you have the passive Brahman in which we can go and annul ourselves. But there is this dynamic power of which Sri Aurobindo is speaking, which guards within its folds greater dawns, of which we have no idea at present. Even the illumined mind cannot show us that. It can go and try to surmise something. For every turn of her mysterious course assigned a reason and unchanging role.
and there it's fixed.
Divine is free.
Yeah.
Someone asks sometimes that, why was mother wearing this? Why did she use a lipstick? Why she wore a sari? Even of that people make a rule. See, mother was also wearing sari. Mother has worn kimono, salwar suit, she has worn full pant. There is a picture of her. She is free, she is infinite. She could wear anything.
Stitched clothing.
Because she is beyond all this.
Yes.
So, but it tries to, the human mind, even a higher mind, illumined mind, has this tendency to fix that pattern. So, and it can be so deceptive. Unchanging rule. And people used to ask Mother and Shri Aurobindo, why you have altered your rule. And there are some very funny stories about it. When a lady asked Bharati Di, she asked, not present Bharati Di, who died, who asked Mother that I believe you are seeing now only people who are getting married. So I've decided I'll get married so that I'll get to see you. Because people got married and went for blessings. And Champaklalji describes so beautifully that in the beginning, Mother would not take artificial flowers. She would take, but it looked like she's not fond of it. But much later, she started not only accepting but appreciating. Yes. He says if somebody suddenly disappeared from the ashram at that point and came back much later, he would find it strange that why are there artificial flowers? So this happens because the mind gets stuck, has a tendency to get stuck into interpreting. Mother smile, I have done some mistake, so Mother is not smiling at me today. And even when she has smiled, actually, not
why are you punishing me?
Why are you punishing me? This is because this mind works like that, unchanging rule. The unseen grew visible to student eyes. Explained was the immense inconscient scheme. Audacious lines were traced upon the void. The infinite was reduced to square and cube. Here, square and cube are used as symbols of perfection. It's not just mathematics, but square and cube even mathematically are perfection, where you have all the sides which are equal. So, this square and cube, Mother explains beautifully in one of her conversations, where the tantric yogi, he just cannot understand Mother's ways of working. He says everything is fine, but because when he sees disciples are moving about so freely, but he's stuck to a traditional idea of yoga. So he cannot understand. So Amrita tries to convince him. So he gets angry. There is a flare up. So when Amrita reports this to the mother, mother says, you don't try to convince him because he will not understand. It doesn't exist within him. Then mother goes into his mind and she describes that how there is all darkness below, a formous, and she enters through that door. But in his mind, he tried to actually put the mother in his own physical mind space. That was his idea. And then she goes from there and she sees there is a cube at the apex, which to him is perfection. And he was under that impression that this is the perfection which Sri Aurobindo wants to bring down, but it cannot come down. It's not the perfection which can come down and change the scheme of things. It's a very beautiful, long discussion where she reveals about this perfect square and cube, which is at the apex.
Interesting that he uses student eyes.
Yes.
Because they're not yet there.
They're not yet there, that's right. Arranging symbol and significance, tracing the curve of a transcendent power. Actually, these lines carry a touch of irony and a touch of humor in them. They framed the Kabbalah of the cosmic law. Kabbalah, we know, is a mathematical way of understanding the divine processes. There's a whole, at one time, a movement, still there exists, the Kabbalah, the Kabbalists, their, incantations, how many times you have this. For example, in India, you have 108 times you must call the divine. So why not 109th time? And this is the other way around also. Why not only once? This is the famous story of the Guru. He was meditating and someone came to have a mantra and his son was there. He said, you must be knowing something. He said, yes, I know the mantra that my Guru does. He'll take time. Can you tell me? He said, yeah, you take this mantra and recite it thrice. So when the Guru opened his eyes after some time, he said, anything happened? He said, yes, so and so had come. And I told him, this is the mantra and you need to say thrice. So I did the right thing, no? So Guru says, no. My child, you did something not quite right. What do you mean? He said, once is enough. It's a beautiful story. Once is enough. When you do with that state, once is enough. Now you see, but the mind tends to reduce everything to a fixed formula. Tracing, they formed the Kabbalah of the cosmic law, the balancing line discovered of life's technique, and structured her magic and her mystery. Imposing schemes of knowledge on the vast, they clamped to syllogisms of finite thought, the free logic of an infinite consciousness. These syllogisms is very interesting. It is a deductive reasoning, as we know. For example, you say that all animals are four-footed. And then you say another thing, or all four-footed beings are, let's say, passionate or impulsive. So you derive all animals are impulsive, which is fair enough. This logic works well. But there are places where this logic breaks down. Those who use this deductive reasoning, they cannot understand. Because this conscious, even in deductive reasoning, it breaks down. So when this consciousness, which is free, you give a meaning to everything, that so and so is punished, or so and so is close. Common one was people who are closer to Sri Aurobindo and the mother, they are greater disciples. So this was asked to Sri Aurobindo, and people were so much misled.
Yes.
There was someone to whom Sri Aurobindo had authorized to get money from outside. And people trusted him because Sri Aurobindo has asked. But he was a cheat. So what they didn't know, when he asked Sri Aurobindo to give a letter, he said no. Sri Aurobindo was seeing whether it was Sri Aurobindo's way of making the disciple grow. Let's see. But he could not. And people were carried away by whatever he was speaking. I am close to Sri Aurobindo, and which anybody can speak. How dangerous these things can be. There was another example where someone said, but you gave him so much time in interview.
Yes.
Oh, mother used to see this person daily. Very often it is actually means that the person is not developed enough. There's a very interesting example, a letter I read in fact today, very interesting, where mother is seeing someone daily, writing letter and a lot of this thing. And this person didn't care about mother. So the disciple asked the mother, one day, mother, you are caring so much for this person, but she hardly cares about you. So why do you give so much love still? And mother's reply was, when she starts caring for my love, I'll stop doing this. Because he is not yet mature enough to feel my love inside. So I am doing this so that she can wake up. What an unconditional love. But if you see outside, it can be so misleading. Oh, mother is loving him so much, he must be specially close. And there are letters like that. And Sri Aurobindo clarifying
Many.
that you cannot make out from this physical closeness that somebody is more close. There are people who hardly come and yet are inwardly much closer to me. So,
Once a year on their birthday or something,
Yeah.
he mentions, yes.
Yes. So, it's a freedom of the infinite, free logic of an infinite consciousness. There is logic in it, but of a different kind, which we cannot fathom. Grammared the hidden rhythms of nature's dance, critiqued the plot of the drama of the worlds, made figure and number a key to all this, that is. Made figure and number a key to all that is. So everything is explained based on that. But there is a deeper truth which is missing always. So they are, just as the higher mind is limited by the form, this mind is limited by numbers. It's fascinated by that. Now comes even more,
Yes.
greater humor.
Yes.
The psychoanalysis of cosmic self was traced, its secrets hunted down and read. The unknown pathology of the unique. Literally, it means the presence of evil in God's world. So you either pass it on to human karma or things, how can there be evil? So, or you bring in another power, which is, of course, God, but it's a dark power which is in the underbelly of God. So, psychoanalysis of cosmic self. In psychoanalysis, that is how you explain things. So, Sri Aurobindo so beautifully brings in this, and of course, he has spoken of psychoanalysis also.
Very much.
That, these psychoanalysts with their ABC, they go into the dark realms with the little torchlights and they build a whole theory based on that. So, even there are people who, based on observing this side of creation, have even posited that God is just strong and mighty. I mean, whole Nietzschean hymn of a God, Superman is this. He's mighty, and the Asura sees only this aspect of God. It said, look at nature. Is there any pity in nature? So this is how they had traced the psychoanalysis of cosmic
But
self.
the unknown pathology is also very humorous.
Of the unique. Assist was the system of the probable, the hazard of fleeing possibilities to account for the actual's unaccountable sum, which actually is one of the big problems in physics. To account for the energy, which is there in the universe. Where does it come from? And there are so many theories tracing which they have gone on to other domains. The whole string theory and the superstring theory comes because they can't account exactly the perfect equation which will explain all things. So, and of course, the open system, that universe is expanding. This is not something closed, that there is fixed amount of energy and fixed amount of matter, but something which is drawing from somewhere else and expanding into something else.
We watched Rupert Sheldrake today.
Oh.
Is the sun conscious? Very interesting talk. And he speaks about what is it, Nilisha?
Psychic.
Yeah, it's a different understanding of consciousness that's coming about in scientists. That the materialists, most of them have given up the material idea.
Yes, of course, there are sounds of the sun which have been recorded.
Yeah.
Solar sound, the movement of the sun. It's very interesting. So, necessities, logarithmic tables drawn, cast into a scheme the triple act of the one. This triple act is a very interesting word. This triple act can be seen in both ways. One is the past, present, future. It's a single act because it's the one. He has all the threads. But it looks like as if your past is determining your present and the present is determining the future. And there are fixed schemes. There are stories where so and so had done this, therefore. There is as if no scope for the infinite who is all the time drawing you despite yourself. So this triple act, another aspect of the triple act is space, time and causality. Because things come out in a certain fragment of time, so we assign a causality. But if we go deep into the state of oneness, then we see this causality itself is a creation of the human mind. And everywhere we misapply it. As I said, so and so is close, so and so, all adjectives that we give to things. That's why in Samam Brahman we realize this. Sri Aurobindo says in the Life Divine that the human mind errs when it makes a degree of error of quantity and an error of quality. And he gives the example of the ant and the mountain to start with. Which is greater? So if you see quantity, then mountain is greater. If you see quality, it's the ant. But then he says even the error of quality. Each has its own unique quality. But in oneness you discover that it's not true. And that's what we were discussing some time back. I remember another story when we had gone to meet H. Didi, let me note, who had been very close to Mother. Mother had written so many maximum letters to her. And she was very fond of me, and then We all family members had gone there, myself, my wife and son. So she started narrating all her, how close she was to mother and how mother this, that, but everything was in past tense. So I knew that now there is going to be a explosion. I was holding myself, but Kavita couldn't. She said, please don't say was. Mother is still the same. We have felt the same intimate closeness. Now this was not digestible or palpable. How can somebody who has never seen the mother feel the same intimate closeness? But we were describing truth of our experience. Honestly, I mean, it's like so she has taken care more intimately. Like earlier you had to write, then you get a response. Now all that is bypassed. Shortcut. And many children now who are coming are experiencing this. And even greater intimacy. Now how does it come? But this we understand only when we live in oneness. That for the divine, in each one he is relating in his own unique and wonderful way.
These Mumbai children, 14, 15 years old, come in groups of 30 and more to meet with me. They have incredible experiences at the Samadhi.
Yes.
Unbelievable
Many
revelations.
of these. That how come they are experiencing things like this?
They're weeping.
Yes.
Weeping at the Samadhi.
Incredible truths suddenly come out like a flash. And then when people say evolution is not happening, I wonder probably we are looking at the wrong place. Probably we are looking only at the parliament and the legislature and the Wall Street. Even their evolution is taking place. Cast into a scheme, the triple act of the one. Again, this remind, mother wants us to learn this, therefore she is teaching. This learning, teaching, this doesn't exist. Mother must have thought, therefore she gave this experience. It's not about thought. As if she thinks and plans, scheme. Look at the word scheme. As if God schemes for everyone, but it doesn't happen like that. Unveiled, the abrupt, invisible multitude of forces whirling from the hands of chance seem to obey some vast imperative. Their tangled motives worked out unity. How they are working these countless forces. Something drops here, something drops there, and then it's amazing that behind all this randomness, there was a great meaning. I mean, it's amazing. A wisdom read their mind to themselves unknown. Their anarchy rammed into a formula, and from their giant randomness of force, following the habit of their million paths, distinguishing each faintest line and stroke of a concealed, unalterable design, out of the chaos of the invisible moods derived the calculus of destiny. If somebody would ask the divine, somebody wrote to Sri Aurobindo, sir, you must have thought like this. Sri Aurobindo says, and about thinking, long back gave away this habit.
Yeah. He writes to Amal, thinking is no longer in my line.
Yeah. So what does the mother do? She just pours love. You receive it, you grow. You don't open, don't receive it, you experience reactions. And you say, mother thought like this and she's punishing me. None of that kind. That's why repeatedly Sri Aurobindo says, open to the mother and receive. That's as simple as that. Because she only pours love. Even if you are right into the mud of human nature, she does not judge. She just keeps pouring love. It's just that we close. So when we close...
My little smile.
Yeah.
She writes, I only have love.
That's it. That's what she does. She does not judge, condemn, all these things. These are human. But our human thought will say like that. Oh, so and so.
I've done something wrong. Mother is angry. Yes.
In its bright pride of universal lore, mind's knowledge overtopped the omniscient's power. Now you see, here comes the humor is growing. Savitri is full of humor. If somebody doesn't take it with a humorous way, At places, Sri Aurobindo writes, I don't see why you cannot understand humor just because you are a doctor. Because everything that Sri Aurobindo has written, one starts analyzing, taking it seriously. How can mind's knowledge overtop the omnisensory? It's very clearly humor. It's Sri Aurobindo's way of saying that it is not, it cannot, but it believes. So always one should know that how much ever you may know, and it's very humbling. Instead of trying to analyze the meaning of this sentence, it's humbling that how much ever you may know, even the seer and the sage, but this will come at the end of the canto. You are still nothing before that infinity. This brings humility.
And yet this race can bring so much
Yes, it is
down.
much higher than humanity.
Much higher.
I mean, these are people who can become gurus and, but still, and it's very easy to get it in the head. The Eternals, winging eagle puissances, surprised in their untracked empyrean, stooped from their guards to obey the beck of thought. So, this is the race of illumined beings. So, time to time, there are light points entering, and they are feeling that illumination, and they are having this revelatory thought. Each mysteried god forced to revealing form, assigned his subtle moves in nature's game, zigzagged at the gesture of a chess player will, across the checkerboard of cosmic fate. So Shiva is ascetic. That's how I learnt and grew up. So first time I questioned someone that he is ascetic, but he is married, he has 2 children. In fact, married twice, thrice. You have first married Sati, she goes away, then Parvati, then Ganges. So there are famous stories about Ganges and Parvati. I think some of the children may not know. They don't, there is a whole narration that Parvati literally says, I am going to go away if Ganges is going to be near you. It's a very symbolic story. But if you look at the story at every level, it breaks all conceptions. Because Shiva is free. You can't put a label onto him, but this mind will put a label. That's why Shiva is also full of rasha in his own way, and Sri Aurobindo reveals this in one of his poems. But Shiva and Krishna are a single god. Sri Aurobindo's poem. And then he brings Shiva and Krishna closer to us. In us too, Shiva drinks the world poison. In us too, Krishna seeks for love and joy. They're a single god. But here the mind works like this. In the wide sequence of necessity steps predicted every act and thought of God. So when people went and said, mother won't like this, mother would like this, then mother said, why are you are stupid enough is when you say things. But when you say mother would like and mother won't like, what do you know about what I would like and not like? And she has said when people quote the mother, saying that the mother would like this and not like it, they add one more stupidity to their own.
Making it a dogma.
Yeah. What mother would like and not like, who knows? The whole history of spiritual literature is full of unpredictability of the divine. Of all the things Gita is given to Arjuna, now of course he is celebrated. But what is the merit of Arjuna? In front of Yudhishthir, Bhishma and Karna and Vidur, who were all adhikaris, apart from many others. But the supreme vision is revealed to Arjuna. So, its values weighed by the accountant mind, checked in his mathematized omnipotence, lost its divine aspect of miracle, and was a figure in a cosmic sum. How many times, I have seen people in Indian tradition very proud about this, that 1,00,000 times I have written this mantra. It's okay, it's nothing wrong with it. But it's not about writing how many times you have written this mantra, how much you have remembered every line. The real thing is how much you have lived it inside. And when you do that, then whole life is a mantra. So this is a oneness towards which we have to climb. The oneness is missing here. And now come these wonderful lines. That's why I've been hurrying through, because these are some fantastic lines. The mighty mother's whims and lightning moods, arisen from her all-wise, unruled delight in the freedom of her sweet and passionate breast, robbed of their wonder, were chained to a cause and aim. An idol of bronze replaced her mystic shape that captures the movements of the cosmic vase. This is what we do. And Mother, there is a whole passage in Agenda where she says, they claim that they love me, but they love an image of me. Everybody has built an image. And it is this image they are in love with. Otherwise, you'll always go beyond. And what do we understand? Even her rejections are not rejections, but postponements and a grace. What can we understand of her mystery and her marvel? Basically, it all to remain humble at whatever level we may climb by her grace. In the sketch precise of an ideal face, these are very beautiful lines. In the sketch precise of an ideal face, forgotten was her eyelashes' dream print, carrying on their curve infinity's dreams, lost the alluring marvel of her eyes. The surging wave throbs of her vast sea heart, they bound to a theorem of ordered beats. Her deep designs, which from herself she had veiled, bowed, self-revealed in their confessional. She has not revealed what is there in the unmanifest. Typical example, Dilip Kumar Roy. Despite all that he did, one of his early interactions, when he asked Sri Aurobindo, what has Mother seen in me? Why was she looking so deeply? She said, Sri Aurobindo says, Mother looked deep into you and she found that, and then he puts in inverted commas, you are faithful. Dilip Kumar Roy can't believe it. He sees all his 100 defects. Sri Aurobindo says, you are faithful. And then Sri Aurobindo describes what is meant by being faithful and what is it that she saw. Throughout his life, it seems he could never fathom and understand why Mother and Sri Aurobindo have loved him so much. Always he doubted. And yet they loved. What they have seen, they alone know.
And I should repeat this one thing when he comes to Mother. Mother sends for him. And Nalini goes to him.
Yes.
And he says, I don't want to see her. And very strongly Nalini says, that would be discourteous. So Dilip says, all right, I'll go see Mother. And he goes before Mother, and Mother says, why are we here? And he comes up with so many answers, supramental and
that is very beautiful
all
answer.
of these things, progress and all. At the end, Mother says one thing, to please Sri Aurobindo.
End of the story. Niruddha, when Sri Aurobindo physically withdrew, so one of his things which was, he was in a fix that he was sleeping in Sri Aurobindo's room. So now, he doesn't know where will I have to go. So Mother told him, of course you can continue sleeping in Sri Aurobindo's room. Imagine, because he was on duty. Of course you can continue sleeping in Sri Aurobindo's room. What a vastness, what an infinity.
And when Sri Aurobindo is about to leave, the road starts going out of the room. And Sri Aurobindo says, where are you going? He says, to get another doctor. Sri Aurobindo says, are you out of your mind, man?
Yes. Are you out of your mind? I mean, it's unimaginable. And if you read through this story, these lives, I often tell people when they ask which book of Sri Aurobindo should I read, sometimes I tell them read the life of Sri Aurobindo. Of course, from an authentic and good source. And I suggest Rishabh Chand's one of the books, and there are others. So even A.V. Purani's book is quite nice. Life of Sri Aurobindo. And you will understand that, you can't reduce them to a fixed formula. last couple of lines and then, or this line we'll repeat again and then we can stop, because this is a very powerful line. In this sketch precise of an ideal face, forgotten was her eyelashes dream print, carrying on their curve infinity's dreams, lost the alluring marvel of her eyes. The surging wave throbs of her vast sea heart, they bound to a theorem of ordered beats. Her deep designs, which from herself she had veiled, bowed self revealed in their confessional.